Memphis Morning News Time is 7:45, and on this Tuesday, that heat index getting up to 105 degrees today. I tell you what, you could probably drop a couple of pounds just walking around. All water, though, that dehydration could be a bit of a health risk for today. Karen Perrin?
The older you get, the younger you want to look. Could periodic fasting help slow aging? We're bringing in our medical expert, the author of Sugar Rehab, Dr. Gerald Edelman. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're glad to have you. I like to have a big fat steak just as much as the next person, but are you saying that maybe an occasional fast could help the aging process slow down? Because if yes, a lot of ears are perking up right about now.
Yes, I think there's validity to this study. What they did was they basically had 4 days twice a month where they restricted calories by 50% in an especially balanced diet. And what they showed was that when you fast like that, now it wasn't complete fasting, which I don't know about you guys, but that is very hard.
Yeah, that's miserable.
So, we all have enough problems with discipline. But in this particular program, you don't have to completely fast, 50% reduction in calories twice a month for 4 days. And what they found was, now they measured parameters of good health and bad health. And they found out that the bad health parameters actually were improved. And that'd be things like insulin levels, insulin growth factor levels, and some oxidative measurements as well. So it did seem to have validity, and it did seem to work. I think it's a little tough to fast, personally, so I think I've spoken to you guys before, but I have a book called Sugar Rehab, and I created basically a sustainability way to lower your insulin levels and lower your sugar levels on a consistent basis, which I think accomplishes the same thing.
Dr. Gerald Edelman joining us this morning. Doctor, and you've spoken on the insulin levels, and for folks that are older, could you talk a little bit about this fasting, and do you run a risk of depriving yourself when it comes to, I know as we get older, bone density becomes a very big issue for a lot of folks?
That's a great question. I think if you fast on a regular basis and decrease caloric intake on a regular basis rather than this, interrupted basis that they did. I mean, the study we're talking about was pretty carefully designed, so, you're not decreasing your total calories throughout the month. The total calories in a month is the same in the control group and the experimental, but if you're just decreasing calories and starving yourself, I do think as you get older, you will have a potential problem with osteoporosis and bone loss. So that's why I think it's more important to come up with a sustainable diet. It's very complex, all the biochemistry that's involved in aging and cardiovascular disease and cancer. It's very, very complicated. But one thing seems real clear to me, and that is that high blood sugar levels and high insulin levels are not a good thing. So I would encourage people to eat very high protein, good balanced diet, and try to decrease your blood sugar level. And that's what I teach in the book Sugar Rehab.
Can I ask you quickly about sugar versus high fructose corn syrup and your stand on that?
I would love that question. They are equivalent. They both, the problem is increasing insulin levels, which happens when you increase your blood sugar levels. And sugar and high fructose corn syrup are absolutely the same. So you want to get rid of both.
And when you talk about hidden sugars, is that going to be in stuff like, we hear you're not supposed to eat white bread, or is that where we're going to find the most hidden sugar? Of course, in soda and things like that. But if we were going to cut one thing from our diet or cut back on one thing, if we were going to try to move forward, what would be the first thing we should start with?
Well, white bread is sugar. But what you want to do, and what I teach in the book Sugar Rehab, is look at the sugars per serving in anything that's packaged, and don't buy any more than 2 grams per serving.
Okay.
You don't need to think beyond that. And 4 grams of sugar is a sugar cube.
Okay.
So when you're limiting it to 2 grams per serving, That's a half a sugar cube. That's the only rule you need to know. That'll take out a lot of the hidden sugar in your diet.
Okay, well, my mom right now is on what you're kind of talking about, a very similar plan where she's cut out all the white foods in her diet and is trying to go with more vegetables and proteins. And while she's sometimes not much fun to eat with, I think she's feeling a whole lot better.
Yeah, it works, but I want to tell you one thing. If you look at a lot of healthy packaged foods in the store, like protein bars, protein shakes, and low-fat yogurts, and you use my rule and you look at the sugars per serving, you won't buy them because a lot of them have as much as 4, 5, and 6 sugar cubes per serving in them.
Interesting.
What about
It's not just the white processed stuff. It's the industry, the food industry is loading our food with sugar. So you've got to look at sugars per serving.
Hey, doctor, what about, I've seen on the shelf, and I've tried it before, what about that yogurt, that Greek yogurt called Fage? Is that a pretty good alternative to some of the ones that come in those smaller cups?
Yeah, so again, in the yogurt section, look at the sugars per serving.
Mm-hmm.
The best yogurt is going to have about 6 grams of sugar per serving, which is a little over 1 sugar cube per serving. And that's what you have to go by. Don't go by name or marketing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll even have to get you back on and talk about artificial sweeteners versus sugar as well, but I think we're out of time. What's your website?
Will you please do that?
Yes.
Because that's really important. It's the topic of my second book.
Great. Well, perfect. What's your website if they want to learn more about you?
drjerrys.com, drjerrys.com, and they can buy the book there or on Amazon.
Well, great. Maybe we can get a copy of the book and your second one as well, because this is all fascinating to me as well. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us today.
Great talking. You guys ask good questions.
Thanks,
Thank you. I'm always interested in diet and nutrition.
It's because we're interior gators. We get inside the stories. We're not interrogators. We're interior gators.
And he has no idea how hungry we are at this very moment.
Amen to that. Memphis Morning News Time, 7:52.